Hi and welcome to another Tabitha's Glass Emporium YouTube video. I hope you're all keeping well out there. It's crazy times and quite scary. We're not all working in my studio at the moment. People are just sort of working remotely and working a little bit less. But I want to try and keep these YouTube videos coming out to you guys because I hope it will kind of help distract everyone and keep your spirits up. This month we're looking at pattern bars. Now a little bit later in the month I will show you kind of how to make a pattern bar if you want to see that. But at the beginning, I'm just the first one. I had this kind of lovely idea for this project, which is making pattern bars into jellyfish. So actually this was inspired by someone else who made one of my pattern bars into a jellyfish, and I said to her, oh, can I do that and show it on a YouTube video? And she very kindly said yes. So thank you. So I have made kind of 3 different sizes of these sort of half moon pattern bars and turned them into this little jellyfish piece. I've also did add a bit of diacrylic into these ones, but it doesn't really seem to have shown up that lot. And we've also used diacrylic stringers. And I will go on and show you how to make this now. So the first thing I did was I thought about the size I wanted. Now I've got a couple of these pattern bars, and I'm going to use them for this project because they're scrap ones and I would, you know, like to use them. So I kind of placed these out and thought, okay, well, if I want my jellyfish like this, then this is sort of a big enough, you know, piece of glass. That's the size of glass I want to do it on. If you want to, you know, slump it afterwards, you may want to sort of do it differently than this, but personally I'm going to put this in a stand or in a frame, we'll see. So I cut my 2 pieces of glass. Now I've used this before in kind of sea projects. These are the UGC enamels. They'll be at the end. And if you look at any of my projects at the end, there is a kind of always a list of materials. Now I've used these before and I've basically looked online and kind of numbered them on the bottles between lightest to darkest. And just so I can kind of, you know, with enamels it's really hard to know the colour or whatever when using them. So now I'm going to put my mask on and do this. So the point of these enamels is that they go bubbly when put between 2 layers of glass, which is quite nice for a watery effect, as I'm showing in this piece here. You want to go, the more enamel you have, the bigger the bubbles. So it sort of really depends on how big kind of bubbles you want, of how much you're going to put on. You might want to sort of have, you know, a thinner area and thicker area to get kind of more or less bubbles depending on the kind of look you're wanting to go for. And also, you know, you could think about if you wanted to sort of do it differently, you could put the back layer of glass, could be a transparent blue to sort of give more colour. But I'm quite a big fan of using Tecta because it's cheap, like the budgie. So that was a bit of a sort of thick splodge there, but I don't mind. We'll have a bit of a thick splodge. It's also because I'm trying to load these up in a somewhat impractical way. I should be using I'm somewhat wastefully doing it rather than using a spoon. We're short on people in the studio at the moment. So I borrowed Sandra for 5 minutes to do the filming. Say hello, Sandra.
Hello, people. Sorry.
We're trying to get your YouTube videos out, even though we're short-staffed, so kind of bear with us if they're not quite up to our normal quality and exuberance. We're trying to find the fun. It's not always there. The stress is there. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going quite haphazard on this. And it's quite hard to know what colours you're getting. Because this looks brown and will fire to a blue and things like that. But I want to sort of make sure that I've got a fairly good covering, so at least I'm getting some colour all over the glass. And sort of a mottled effect is what I'm going for. As you can see, I'm sometimes have to go in because it's a bit lumpy and just sort of squidge it with my finger to make it go through. So there we go, there's my mottled effect. So now I'm going to carefully place this layer of glass on top. I cleaned all my glass before I'm using it now. You need to clean your glass. Just going to put some things at the bottom here using a bit of glue. This is going on a full fuse now, so it's sort of my time to add sort of stuff to the project. So this is the it's a white and brown streaky I use a lot in projects. I love these for sort of landscape projects. The streaky that Bullseye do. And then I'm gonna, that's the extra large. Now I've got some coarse. It's nice to have different sizes. So just putting it down. And then I'm just going to take a bit of French vanilla and put some of that on. And after that, I just want to put some murrine in, just because I have them and I can use them. As kind of the anemones and pretty things that are on the sea floor. Got some swirls here which are quite good for projects like this. I feel that they kind of look quite like kind of what you find in the sea, particularly these red yellow ones, because they'll all be full fused. They'll sort of distort in a nice way and give the kind of feeling of underwater. So there are those. Now I just want to add a little bit of green. I feel that under the sea always have a bit of green, even on the rocks. I'm just going to put, so this is some pea pod medium. Just adding some here. And some olive green. Olive green medium as well. I've got some variegated again, mint and aventurine, which I'm partial to. So that will all go in on a full fuse, standard full fuse, and then we'll see how it is to come out. So then to decorate it with the jellyfish. So I put it in the kiln, and then I decided to add a couple of these stringers and a couple of other murrine. These are the new peacock ones, and these are the blue oval sea to it, and now we're going for the full fuse. At the same time as putting the main piece on for a full fuse, I've just put these little bits in, which can then be tack fused onto the project afterwards when we're adding the jellyfish. So the main video, which you're going to see after this, of me putting the project together, my daughter River video. She was the only person available. As you know, it's quite hard times at the moment getting people together. I now have Sandra here, and I'm going to show you a bit more in detail of the bits, because it's quite hard to see what I'm doing when River keeps zooming in and out. First thing I want to talk about is when you're using pattern bars, guys, you want to make sure to get a good, sorry I'm putting my mask on the right way up, to get a good nice sort of clean finish. You can see on these ones you get some tile mark saws. So what can be good is get some clear powder. This is the 1101 clear powder, and you take, you know, whatever method you have of kind of putting powder down, and you're literally just going to put a thin layer of clear powder over the top. And this will mean that you will get a nice clean finish like this, rather than it being a bit murky. Otherwise it can be a bit murky. These ones are the ends of the pattern bars, so they're even slightly worse than even though I put a layer of powder on them. So the next thing I want to talk about, I'm just going to put this powder away. Reclaim it back into the jar. The next thing I want to talk about is these. So what I did with these was I took a bit of this, happened to be cream because I had some scrap cream, and I cut it into kind of lengths I needed, and then on a Taurus saw I went like sort of did them. This one's quite regular. Actually, I did mine a lot more kind of haphazard and not quite so regular. So that's the kind of big ones. Then the stringers, we've got these ones that I'm calling Dichroic and Emperor's New Clothes. That one is very sparkly, but then some of them are not so sparkly at all. But I quite like them to give them definition. So they go on, they've got a bit of opaline in them as well, so they're not entirely clear. And then we've got white, and then we've got some blue. So those are the stringers we use. To do the coral, some of them I've just done with, again, using the Taurus and just sort of cutting grooves in. And then some were pre-fused in the kiln. So this again was done on Taurus, just sort of cutting a scrappy triangle with the Taurus saw. And then these are sort of pre-fused bits of stringers and blobs of frit to make kind of pre-fused bits that I put on afterwards. These fish are the Excel fish we've got, so they're kind of going to be a special, so they will be quite a cheap price. I was thinking I could have added little tails on, which could have been quite fun to make them more fish-like. They haven't quite worked. We wanted a bigger tail, and sometimes murrine don't work as we want them to. So these will be a special. We're also actually, you know, they sort of double up. There's a nice petal, so they're quite versatile in the way you can use them for two different things. So effectively, once you've got all your bits together, you're just sort of laying out it in a design you like. I added some extra frit balls at the bottom, and you'll see me doing it in a minute with my daughter's beautiful videoing. I hope you enjoy. So I also have these little fishes murrine that I'm going to put on. They're a kind of bluey colour, so they're not going to show up brilliantly, but you can either be fishes or petals, but I'm going to put a few of them on. There's a little kind of shoal of fishes.
Swimming around.
Stop moving the camera. Rib, stop moving the camera.
Swimming in the sea.
Okay. Some fishes that are swimming past like that. Okay, all right, we're done.
The whole thing?
So here it is out of the kiln. So guys, my dichroic stringers, I don't know, they are totally the Emperor's New Clothes. This one does have a bit of sparkle in it. I quite like them for the textural feeling. I don't know how much kind of sparkle you'll get in them, but I love this. I think it's such a fun piece. It's kind of really, the jellyfish work brilliantly, and particularly love the kind of translucence because there's quite a lot of clear in them, and that you can kind of almost see the see-through. Gives them this sort of really jelly feel. And this bottom kind of area with all the texture where we tack fused other bits on. And even my slightly kind of funny murrine fish, I think, work in this project. I really enjoyed making this one, and I hope you have too. And if you've liked this video, please subscribe.